Columbia County News. Wherever the story breaks, wherever the news goes, Columbia County News will bring it to you. With Debbie Corsilia and Mark Johnson with sports. And now, here's Debbie.
Welcome to Columbia County News, the place for the latest in local information. I'm your host, Debbie Corsilia. To keep you in touch with your community, keep it right here. St. Helens Schools is asking voters to pass a $34 million bond measure to fund improvements and new school construction for the Aileen District. To inform the voting public on why the money is needed and where it will go, Superintendent Cliff Tatro and other experts held a live forum last Wednesday at the Columbia Center.
Shall the district issue general obligation bonds totaling $34,100,000 to construct, replace, improve, and make additions to its facilities? If the bonds are approved, they will be payable from taxes on property or property ownership that are not subject to the limits of Sections 11 and 11B, Article 9 of the Oregon Constitution. In summary, the measure may be passed only at an election with at least 50% voter turnout. Bond funds will be used to A, replace John Gum and Condon Elementary Schools with new 350 school student facilities, construct a new 350 student elementary school on the west side of Highway 30, expand and remodel Yankton and Columbia City elementary schools to bring capacity of each to 350 students.
We knew that we had a problem. We also took a look at the capacity of the existing schools to take on new students, and where we were seeing the growth was primarily at the elementary level, with the children moving on up into the other grades. We knew that we were at capacity in the existing schools, yet we were looking at 100 to 125 new students coming in each fall and during the school year. So that we had to do something, because we'd have to take all students that live within the district, enroll them into the schools, and there just wasn't the space for that. So the board spent a couple of months deliberating, looking at the data and trying to come up with some sort of a consensus opinion as to how we were going to deal with this growth. And the result was ballot measure 5-34.
What will happen if this isn't passed? Can it be restructured into different bond measures? Who would like to handle that question?
It could be structured into different bond measures, but we have lots of issues involved in this particular ballot measure. One of them deals with the need for elementary classroom space, but as we see that the children are coming in, move into junior high, middle school age very quickly, that we have a need at the middle school. We have a middle school with a capacity of 500 students, with over 450 there now. And so that as the kids move into the district, we'll find that we're not only filling the elementary schools, which are already filled, but also impacting the junior high school. And so we see a need for additional junior high school space. The school board, and maybe Melody will speak to this later, has a commitment to neighborhood schools. And I know a few years back there was talk of closure of a neighborhood school, and that could be quite an issue there. But this board has a commitment to schools in neighborhoods where people live.
Okay, I know one of the big concerns people are having is they're having trouble with the McBride thing. And could you talk about, my understanding was that they would be separate schools, much like people in a duplex don't live in each other's homes, that these would be separate entities. Is that true? And the other thing I'd like you to address is, if we don't build that, I was given to understand we would have this very large mid-school and, you know, shorter guard towers. People are questioning how you control that many early teenagers on one site if we don't have a second mid-school.
The question is, have you considered guard towers?
Have you seen those ones already being built up there?
Who would like to address Alan's question?
Well, But your description of the revised McBride as a duplex is right on. I mean, that's probably the most accurate description that I've heard of what we want to do with that building. We would be running 2 schools under one roof. There'd be separate entrances for the elementary and for the middle school kids. We would make use of some of that common infrastructure, but the children would be out of each other's face. I mean, we're not going to be mixing the older kids with the younger kids, so there would be that separation. We would have different times on the playgrounds for the kids. There'd be different lunches for the kids, so that we would be running, in essence, 2 schools under one roof.
Not much mention in this of the high school, and evidently you have room for growth at the high school. Do you have any projection based on your other statistics as to when that will be full at capacity levels?
Yeah, I think we're projecting around 2007, 2008, the high school should reach capacity. So we have about 850 students at the high school with a capacity of 1,200.
So the 20-year bond, about the middle, about the 10-year period, you'll have the new McBride grade school drop off. You'll probably have a need for a new grade school and possibly an addition, probably not a new high school at that point in time.
In 2006, this is going to be a very different place. So I would say that need could be there, but St. Helens is going to look very different than it does right now.
So the need would, for industry would help your concern greatly, bring in some tax base between now and then. Mm-hmm. We've got a list of the existing schools and their ages back there. One of the ones we've talked about, John Gum and Condon, haven't spent much time on Columbia City and Yankton, and I take it that those are not truly considered hazard schools, but yet they're some of our oldest. And would you like to address what's to be done with those schools from this bond measure?
Right, sure. The size of both Columbia City and Yankton will be doubled. They're wood frame structures, single story, although Yankton does have a basement, but that basement would not be used for instructional space as it is now, and for a cafeteria. The cafeteria would be part of another complex which would be built into Hillside out there. So we would be dropping in a classroom unit on each of those campuses, which would be from 5 to 6 additional classrooms with some minor modification of the existing buildings. I personally don't have the concern structurally with Columbia City and Yankton, although they're wood frame buildings. I mean, fire would be a concern, but we do have early warning detection devices in all of our buildings, including these 2. I think that in the case of earthquake or strong wind, those buildings are going to do okay. They're not of the unreinforced masonry, which is blocks stacked on top of blocks. It's an entirely different construction. I guess what we see is that our two smaller schools in the district are showing us the way to the future as to what school construction should look like. I think that's a good thing.
Yes, I have a question for the panel there. My concern is if this doesn't pass, I'm concerned of what might happen in the district. And I'd just like to have maybe at least 1 or 2 of the panel members discuss the kind of problems that are going to arise, or probably likely to arise in the next few years if we don't pass this bond measure. Thank you.
There's probably only 2 strategies that we could use to cope with the existing buildings and accommodating more students, but this won't deal with the safety factor. You can put more children into buildings if you change the time frame that the children are in school. We would look at probably 2 options. One would be year-round school, and the most popular model of that is 45 days in school and then 15 off, 45 in school, 15 off, and you do that around the calendar year. The other would be double shifting, and in schools that have gotten themselves in dire straits where there are large enrollment increases and an inability to build new facilities, you then operate 2 schools under one roof, and it would look something like this. Your first school would start at 7 in the morning, and you'd have your teachers and your students come in. They would leave at noon, and then another whole new group of teachers would come in, new students, and you'd run that school from, say, 1 o'clock until 7 in the evening. There are other choices available to us. So.
That eliminates the need for housing, but what does that do to your staffing? Does that create further problems in staffing?
I would say it creates no more problems for staffing than it would create for parents. I mean, it would be a very difficult situation to deal with childcare and such erratic schedules.
In a related event, kids and parents took to the streets last week to celebrate St. Helens School's 3,000 student enrollment and to encourage people to get out and vote. Ballots are now in the mail and need to be returned by November 4th. The 9th annual Scappoose Sauerkraut Festival was a huge success with a turnout of hundreds of exhibit booths and thousands of visitors. The event was a big draw for healthy appetites, both for food and for fun.
It's a sauerkraut festival of Scappoose, Oregon. At the sauerkraut festival, the fun has just begun. It's just begun. Yeah. Well, every 10th month of the year, there's a party you just can't miss. It's found 20 miles northwest of Portland in the capital of sauerkraut bliss. Well, sauerkraut is all around us. Can't you see? Yeah. Well, sauerkraut, it surrounds us. It's in the air that we breathe. Well, it's a sauerkraut festival of Scappoose, Oregon. At the sauerkraut festival, the fun has just begun. It's just begun.
Well, good morning. My name is George Doppel. I've been asked to be your host this morning, and I apologize for getting started a little late, but anything worth doing well is worth waiting for, and we're going to do this well, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. We're going to start off with a dedication. As you know, that our Sauerkraut Festival the last 6 years has been sponsored by Seinfeld. They do an excellent job in our community throughout the state. We're very fortunate today to have the majority of the family here. In fact, it looks like it must be all of them. We're pretty close. Pretty close. We're going to start off as Ray, one of the patriarchs of our community, passed away over the last year. We're going to start off with a dedication and a remembrance of him. One of his friends and people that knew Ray throughout his life is here, and I'd like to introduce a member of our fire board here in Scappoose and a local community citizen, Ray, that knew Ray, Bob McKee, to say a few words. Bob?
I was asked to say a few words concerning Ray Steinfeld, and it's pretty hard for me to say just a few words about a man that I have known so long and has done so much for the community and the people around him. But Ray's first love in life was Christ. His second love was his family. And he did great things here in the community because on several occasions I went with Ray when we were delivering Christmas baskets to the poor needy up in the hills. So it's a great privilege to stand up here in front of you people and say a few words about Ray and the wonderful things that he tried to do in his lifetime. Thank you.
We don't have the official plaque that's going to be mounted on this gazebo in memory of Ray, but we do have a facsimile thereof I'd like to present to June on behalf of the community. And this isn't any particular club, this is the community itself, recognizing the efforts of the Steinfeld family and especially Ray throughout our community, and on behalf of the community, which I've been a part of for a long time, and I know the Steinfelds, even though a lot of them don't live in the area anymore, their hearts are still here. We appreciate the efforts, and June, on behalf of the community, I just hand this to you.
Kids, are you tired of the rain and want something fun to do? Mark your calendars for Saturday, October 25th. The 6th Annual Children's Fair, sponsored by the Daybreakers Kiwanis, will be held at the St. Helens Senior High Commons. From 10 a.m. to 3:30 p.m., all sorts of fun events and demonstrations will fill the day. The exotic birds will be back. OMSI will have a display. Ronald McDonald will make a guest appearance. But that's not all, because participants will be dressed in Halloween costumes and door prizes will be awarded. And here's what's featured at the Columbia Theater. And for questions regarding the playtimes, you can call 397-9791. Now let's get the latest on the Highway 30 construction from a news release issued by the Oregon Department of Transportation.
It's down to the finishing work on the 7.25-mile widening project on US 30 between Columbia City and Warren. Tuesday, October 21st through Thursday, October 23rd, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., crews are scheduled to make some traffic pattern shifts at both the north and south ends of the project. For the first time, northbound traffic will travel on the east side of the highway between Bennett Road and Sykes Road in the south and between Deer Island Road to the north end of the project in Columbia City. Northbound and southbound traffic will use the left lane on the respective sides of the highway. The right lane in both directions will remain closed to allow crews to continue work on various tasks. The center turn lane will also be open and available for left turns at the various intersections in both sections of the project. Other activities that are scheduled to go forward next week include pavement striping, seeding and mulching on the slopes along the roadway, continued installation of drain inlets and pipe, and finishing driveways. In addition, the project contractor plans to engage in work preparatory to turning on the permanent traffic signals throughout the project.
The Columbia Humane Society needs people with room in their hearts and their homes to adopt a lovable dog or cat. Here's Pet of the Week.
This is Link. He's a neutered male. He's a Persian mix. He's really loving. He needs a home. He was received 120 of 97, and he's a really good kitty. He doesn't like getting a bath, but he'll tolerate. But he just needs a home, and he's really loving. Big tail. What you doing? And if you'd like to adopt him, come on down to the Humane Society.
Okay, hi, this is Logan. He's probably 3/4 lab with just a little touch of maybe some Shar-Pei. He came in with his mother and 5 siblings to animal control last year and was adopted. And now the young gal who adopted him, her situation has changed and she can't have him where she lives. He's a little over a year old. He's neutered. He's had all of his shots. He's real good with kids. She had a baby. He was great with the baby. He likes cats. He's housebroke. He's good in the bathtub. She said he shakes, he sits, he lays, he understands what you're talking to him about. He stayed in a 4-foot fence quite well, and he's looking for a home. If you've got room and have a fenced yard or some kind of a dog kennel that you could keep Logan in, he's waiting for someone to adopt him.
And once again, here's Employment Specialist Jim Farrar with this week's Employment Division report.
This week I'd like to talk a little bit about what types of services we can provide to employers who are looking for new employees to hire. First of all, we have a program that we call Jobs Plus, and what that program does is it allows an employer to hire an employee, and the employer gets reimbursed $5.50 an hour, and also federal and state tax, workman's comp, unemployment insurance. And this program runs for 6 months. And during that 6-month time frame, the employer will be training this employee to do the job, say as a receptionist, if that would be the job. And then hopefully by the 6-month time frame, either the employer would hire that person on, or that person would have enough training background that they could go on and get a job elsewhere. And like I said, the name of that program is Jobs Plus. And also we have other things that we can do for employers. If you're looking to hire an employee, we also can place a job order in our computer system. And what it does is it gets into our computer system and it can be put on the internet, our home page. And so people who are looking on the internet can access jobs off the internet and apply to your company. And also we can put it on our computer base that we have in our office, and what it does is it can be a statewide. We can put it so it goes statewide. If maybe it's a position that might be hard to fill in this area, we can put it on there, and people in other areas can access this job order. We can also put the job order on the job order board that we have, so people come in looking at jobs can access it on the job order board. They can also access these jobs through our computer system in the resource room, where they can sit down at the computer and access these jobs. We can also have interview rooms for you if you are looking at interviewing and you don't have a facility that's big enough. We have rooms that you can use. It's no extra cost to you. You can just let us know that you'd be doing some interviewing at a certain date, and we can schedule that room for you, and you'll have a room to interview people with. We can also take applications for, if you have a position, we can also hold the applications, and then you can pick them up as we get applications brought in. People who are looking for jobs, basically, what we do is we have a database where you can look for jobs. So if you're interested, what you can do is come down to the office and we will show you around our resource room, show you what services we have and what we can provide. We also can get you enrolled, so when we do have jobs available, we can contact you by mail or by phone. I'd kind of like to go over some job orders we currently do have in our computer system at the moment. We have a receptionist, $6.15 an hour to $6.45 an hour, and that is in St. Helens. Dishwasher part-time, $5.50 an hour, and that is in Scappoose. Assistant animal control, $17.76 a month to $21.32 a month, and that is in St. Helens. Millwright electrician, $15.58 on a 30-day probationary period, and that is in St. Helens. We have a cutting room assistant, $6 an hour, and there is a probationary period with that, and that is in St. Helens. Industrial sewer, $6 an hour, and that is in St. Helens. And we have a tree climbing and cutter, $12.50 an hour, and that's covering Cowlitz County.
To keep you up to the minute on the latest in local sports, here's our own Chuck Purvis.
Thanks, Debbie. Welcome to the Sports Report, fans. I'm Chuck Purvis with the latest. The Scappoose Indians' 34-29 victory over the St. Helens Lions last Friday left them in a four-way tie for first place in the tough Kawapa League football race. This week, Scappoose faces Clatskanie at home, and the St. Helens Lions travel to Banks for a road game. Both teams need wins to remain in contention for a state playoff berth. In boys soccer, the St. Helens Lions lost to Seaside on Wednesday 3-0, and the Scappoose boys defeated Astoria 3-1. In girls soccer action, Scappoose and St. Helens met for the second time this year, and after 80 hard-fought minutes, nothing was resolved as the teams settled for a 0-0 tie. In volleyball, St. Helens fell to both Banks and Astoria last week. The Scappoose girls, battling for a playoff spot, met the Clatskanie Tigers on Thursday, and the Tigers showed why they're one of the best in the state, as they held on for a 15-8, 16-14 win in one of the best volleyball games played in the county in some time. Local cross-country teams have finished their regular seasons, and they will meet in the district meet at Fort Raialea to determine state berths. That meet is on October 23rd at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That's it for sports. I'm Chuck Purvis, and now back to you, Debbie.
Well, that's it for this edition of Columbia County News. We thank you very much for watching. I'm Debbie Corsilia, inviting you back next week for more news from around the county.
Hi, this is Brian Burride, Volunteer Campaign Chair for United Way.
And I'm Suzanne Arnitz, Executive Director for Columbia County United Way.
As an employee of St. Helens Rural Fire District, I know firsthand how good it feels to make a difference in somebody's life. It's the same feeling that I get by being involved with United Way.
United Way of Columbia County has been helping people in the cities of Clatskanie, Rainier, St. Helens, Scappoose, Vernonia, and the surrounding communities for 33 years. United Way volunteers fund 23 local service providers who help your neighbors in need.
When you support our United Way of Columbia County and help people who really need it, I guarantee it'll make you feel good too. It's all about neighbors helping neighbors.
For more information, please call the United Way office at 503-556-3614. Thanks for your support.